So, what's the best cold wallet in 2026? Well, the truth is, there's no such thing as the best cold wallet. And after testing over 35 cold wallets over the last 5 years, I learned that they really all do the same thing. They secure your crypto. So the question isn't what's the best cold wallet, it's which one is best for you. Because your experience level, the crypto you hold, and what devices you use is what ultimately determines which wallet will be best for you. So in this video, I broke down my top wallets based on who they're actually best for. Beginners, everyday users, long-term holders, that way you can quickly decide which one fits your needs. I also dropped links with discounts, my full reviews, and step-by-step user guides for each wallet in the description, so if you see one that you like, everything you need is right down there. Now let's get into it. So Tangem is the most beginner-friendly wallet on the market, and it's the one that I personally use the most. It's also the only wallet I've consistently seen people over 65 and parents buying for their kids talk about using with ease in my comments, and the setup takes about 3 minutes or less depending on how you choose to set it up. One of the main reasons it's so easy is because it lets you choose how to use it. You can set it up with a seed phrase or without one. A seed phrase is a simple 12 or 24 word password used to access your crypto, and some people just don't like keeping track of that. So Tangem lets you set it up without a seed phrase. With this method, each card is basically your seed phrase or the key to your crypto. The downside is that if you lost all your cards, which is extremely unlikely, you would actually lose access to all of your crypto. That's why I personally prefer the seed phrase setup. With this method, each card still acts as your key, but you also get to write down your seed phrase, so even if you were to lose all of your cards, you would be able to take your seed phrase and enter it into a new cold wallet to access your crypto again. But regardless of whether you set up a seed phrase or not, you also get to set up an access code. This is a card-specific password that only you know, and it prevents anyone from picking up your card and using it. So to transact, someone would need both your card and your access code. Also, if you ever lose your phone, your crypto isn't at risk and you can still access your crypto since the keys are stored on the card and not your phone. To do that, you would just download the Tangem app on a new phone, scan any one of your cards, enter your access code, and you're back in. Another reason Tangem is so easy to use is because it's unlike any other cold wallet. Most cold wallets either need to be plugged in to use or maybe even charged, and some need a computer just to get started, and all that can get pretty overwhelming fairly quickly. With Tangem, there are no batteries and no cables. All you need to use it is your iOS or Android phone, the card, and the Tangem app. But that simplicity doesn't just make it easy to use, it also makes it the most durable cold wallet on the market and the only one with a 25-year product replacement warranty. Each card only has two components, an EAL6 Plus secure element chip, which is the highest level of security chip used in crypto wallets, and an NFC antenna to communicate with your phone. Because of that, these cards are IP68 rated, meaning they're completely waterproof and temperature resistant. And since there are no electrical parts, it's also immune to EMPs, electrostatic discharge, and X-ray machines. So if you're ever passing through airport security like I've done several times with this wallet, you don't have to worry about it being affected. It's also one of the most discreet wallets on the market. I mean, it's just a card. No one will ever know this is a cold wallet unless you tell them, and it hides in plain sight with the rest of the cards in your wallet. But what really makes Tangem the most enjoyable wallet on this list is its app. It's a true all-in-one crypto app that gives you everything you need to manage your crypto securely, and it does it in a way that's easier than most banking apps. And to be clear, just like with any wallet, the app is only a middleman. It doesn't hold the keys to your crypto because the keys are held offline on the card. That's why anytime you make a transaction, you have to hold the card up to your phone to approve the transaction. But inside the app, you can do literally everything. You can buy, sell, swap, stake, earn yield, and track your portfolio. There's even a market tab where you can look up your favorite crypto, see how it's performing, and view other data that more advanced investors might find useful. But ease of use is only one aspect of a good cold wallet. The other aspect, and arguably the more important one, is security. And Tangem remains one of the most secure wallets you can get. They've been around since 2018, and since then they've sold over 6 million cards without a single compromise. Now sure, they've had a couple of bugs, but nothing that has led to anyone losing their crypto, and bugs are pretty standard when it comes to cybersecurity. One thing worth noting though is that Tangem is not 100% open source. The chip inside the card is made by Samsung, and to protect the decades of hardening or making that chip more secure over time, it has to remain closed source, and Tangem has signed non-disclosure agreements with Samsung to not reveal any of the code in that chip. And this is actually very common even with the most popular hardware wallet brands. However, the Tangem app is 100% open source, and this gives us transparency on how most things work, including how the seed phrase is generated if you choose to use a seed phrase. So both statistically and practically speaking, Tangem is top tier when it comes to security. It also supports more cryptocurrencies and blockchain networks than most cold wallets, including all the popular ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, HBAR, you name it. Now, there are some downsides though. The main complaint I see with Tangem is that there is no multiple address support, meaning you only get one receiving address per blockchain network. So you get one Bitcoin address, one Ethereum address, one Solana address, and so on. Now, this doesn't limit how much crypto you can secure by any means. You can still secure an unlimited amount of crypto, but for those of you who prefer generating new receiving addresses every time you receive crypto, you can't do that with Tangem yet. I have confirmed with the team that they still plan to add multiple address support eventually, but until we see it live, there's no guarantee. That said, it's never been an issue for me, but I do know that there are some people who prefer having multiple receiving addresses. Another downside to Tangem is that it is a mobile-only NFC wallet. So if you prefer to manage your cold wallet using your computer, well, you can't do that with Tangem because it's a mobile-only wallet. Also, your phone needs to have full NFC capabilities, which most modern-day phones do, but something you want to double-check. Now, one last really cool thing about Tangem that a lot of people still don't know is you can manage an unlimited amount of Tangem wallets in your Tangem app. So you could literally set up 100 different Tangem wallets, and by simply swiping left or right at the top of the app, you can switch between your wallets. And this is a great way to diversify your crypto portfolio. It's the most convenient option there is. So yeah, it's super cool. And for only 50 to 60 bucks, whether you get a 2 or a 3 pack, and assuming you use a link in the description to get that discount, this is one of the most affordable wallets you can get. But not everyone wants a mobile-only wallet like Tangem. So this next wallet is what I call a hybrid wallet, meaning it works with both your phone and your computer, and that is the Ledger Flex. The Flex is Ledger's mid-tier touchscreen wallet, and it's the perfect combo of quality and usability, and it's also really beginner-friendly. It walks you through the entire setup process step by step, and it's pretty straightforward. Turn on the device, update the firmware, check the authenticity, write down your seed phrase, and you're ready to go. And since it's a hybrid wallet, you can either set it up using the included USB-C cable on your computer or using the end-to-end encrypted Bluetooth connection on your phone. And once you set it up, you can use both your computer and your phone to manage the device, do firmware updates. Really, you choose how you want to use it. Another awesome feature or item that all Ledger touchscreen models come with, including the Ledger Flex, is the new Ledger Recovery Key. This is a secure backup card for your seed phrase. You just hold it up to the back of your wallet, and it copies an encrypted version of your key onto the card. That way, if you ever need to restore your wallet, you simply tap it, enter your recovery key pin, and you're back in. And the security key uses the same EAL6 Plus secure element chip that's found in the Ledger wallet, and it's pin protected, and it has a self-destruct mechanism, so after a certain number of failed entry attempts, it erases a key from the card, so it is equally secure as your wallet. To be clear, the key isn't meant to replace writing down your seed phrase, it's just an additional secure and convenient way to back it up and restore it if you ever need to. But yeah, it comes with the Ledger Flex, and if you bought it on its own, it's about 40 bucks, so it's a cool bonus prize. That said, Ledger has several wallets to choose from, including the Nano S Plus, Nano X, Nano Gen 5, Flex, and Stacks, and all of them are equally secure. I want you to know that. So even if you don't want the Flex, maybe you want a less premium option like the Gen 5, which is basically the Flex except it's made completely out of plastic, then you could save some money and go with one of those without sacrificing security. So the main difference between all the Ledger models are the features and their design, but security remains the same. But the reason I like the Flex the most is because of its design. The 2.8-inch e-ink screen makes everyday use more enjoyable compared to the less premium options like the S Plus and the Nano X that have much smaller screens and only 2 buttons to navigate the device. So reading transaction details or even simple tasks like entering your PIN are a lot easier on the touchscreen models because they have a full keypad and it's a touchscreen. The build quality is also the best out of all the models. Even though it's technically their mid-tier wallet, the screen is actually just as good a quality as their more premium option, the Stacks. Now, another reason I like the Flex and really all Ledger wallets is because they're the only wallet manufacturer that uses what's called a secure screen. This basically makes it impossible for a hacker to inject malicious code between the chip, where your private keys are stored, and the screen, where your transaction details are shown. Ledger does this by using the secure chip to drive the screen, whereas other cold wallets use a general purpose chip that's designed for performance and not security, which is technically a weak point. And while the chances of someone getting a hold of your wallet, injecting malicious code into the general purpose chip, and then getting it back into your hands without you knowing is extremely low and unlikely, Ledger has completely eliminated this risk with their secure screens. So every time you send crypto or transact, you verify the transaction details on screen and you know that those details are true. So this adds an extra layer of peace of mind. Now, behind the scenes, there's also a serious security team protecting all these wallets. Ledger has their own in-house security team called Ledger Donjon, and they're one of the most respected security research teams in all of crypto. Their main job is to try to break Ledger wallets before the bad hackers do. If there's a vulnerability, they want to find it first. And that's one of the big reasons why no Ledger wallet has ever been hacked. But they don't just test and help secure Ledger products. Ledger Donjon has discovered and responsibly disclosed real vulnerabilities in other major wallets like Coldcard, Trezor, Trust Wallet, and even Tangem. This allows companies time to patch the issue before they can ever be exploited in the real world. Okay, now moving on to Ledger's coin support, it is really good and they support a lot of the popular cryptocurrencies and blockchain networks. It's not quite up to par with Tangem's, but it's still very good. But Ledger does support generating multiple receiving addresses, unlike Tangem. But you can't have a good cold wallet, in my opinion, without a good cold wallet app, and Ledger's app called Ledger Wallet is among the best. It's available as a desktop and mobile app, and it's similar to Tangem in that it provides everything you need all in one place. Buying, selling, swapping, staking, it's all right there in the app, and there's also an in-app browser that lets you easily find and connect to various DeFi platforms safely. The main downside for the Ledger Flex and really all Ledger wallets is the limited app storage. You only get about 1.5 megabytes of space for all the blockchain apps. So Ledger works a little differently than other wallets. You install each coin's app directly on the device. Those apps handle key generation and transaction signing inside the secure chip, so this is technically a security feature. Most apps are small, but realistically, you can only keep about 10 to 20 installed at once. This doesn't limit how much crypto you can hold by any means. It just means if you use a lot of different blockchain networks, like over 20 networks, you'll find yourself installing and uninstalling different blockchain apps more than you'd like to. But for me, since I stick to a handful of blockchain networks, this has never been an issue for me. But if you are involved in a lot of different crypto projects, this is something you'll want to consider. Now, like I said earlier, the Flex is Ledger's mid-tier wallet at $249, so it is more expensive than something like Tangem, but you get what you pay for. This is a more premium device. However, if your main concern is security and you don't care so much about the design, you could opt for the more affordable option like the Ledger Nano Gen 5, which is basically the same wallet, but it's made out of plastic, and you'll save some money. Ultimately, any Ledger wallet is a great option, but the touchscreen models are going to be more enjoyable to use compared to the old USB style ones. Next up, we have a wallet from the company who invented cold wallets, Trezor. The Trezor Safe 7 is my favorite new cold wallet that was released in 2025, and it's now one of the best overall wallets that I've ever tested, and there's literally nothing else like it on the market. Trezor's reputation alone is the reason they've remained one of the most trusted brands in the crypto space for over a decade. They released the first cold wallet back in 2014, and since then, their wallets just keep getting better. But none of their previous models compare to the Safe 7, which is Trezor's first completely wireless wallet. Previous models weren't as user-friendly because you had to use a computer to set it up and manage your crypto. I guess in some cases you could use your Android phone, but it just wasn't as convenient. But now with the Safe 7, you can set it up, manage your crypto, do firmware updates, check the authenticity, all through your phone or your computer depending on how you want to use it. Something else that's really cool about the Safe 7 is that the encrypted Bluetooth connection that you use to connect to your phone to manage the device can also be used to connect to your computer. So you no longer have to plug in your Trezor wallet to manage it on your computer. You can use that same Bluetooth connection. And this is something that Trezor has over Ledger because Ledger's Bluetooth is only good for connecting to your mobile device, not to your computer. And similar to Tangem and the Ledger Flex, the Safe 7 is extremely straightforward to set up. The device and the Trezor Suite app walks you through the entire setup process. Even if you've never set up a cold wallet before, I'm confident that you could set this one up. And remember, for all the wallets on this list, not only do I have the discounted links in the description, but I also have these step-by-step user guides that show you how to set it up, how to transfer crypto to and from the wallets. So if you need a hand, just watch those videos. But something else that sets the Safe 7 apart from the previous Trezor models and really every other cold wallet on the market is its design. Trezor spent 3 years building this wallet from the ground up, and once you're holding it in your hand, you can tell it is a premium product that they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. The entire device is carved from one solid piece of anodized aluminum. The screen is the brightest one on the market at 700 nits, which is close to iPhone territory at about 1000 nits. It's also the largest screen of all the Trezor wallets, and it's made from Gorilla Glass 6, so it's scratch and shatter resistant. But the back is even more beautiful, which is a weird word to use for a hardware wallet, but it's just the first word that came to mind. It's made from 14 layers of reinforced glass, which gives it this insane reflective look, but it's also functional. They use glass so that it doesn't interfere with any of the wireless operations. Also worth noting, Trezor is the only wallet on this list that offers a Bitcoin-only version of their wallets for you Bitcoin maxis. So if that's important to you, you would just get the orange Bitcoin-only design. It's also IP54 rated, so it is dust and water resistant. Now, you can't completely submerge it, but the occasional splash or two isn't going to hurt it. Okay, on another note, the Safe 7 is one of the only cold wallets that's technically future-proof. Part of its future-proofing comes from its battery, and the other part comes from its quantum readiness. Now, let's start with the battery first. So it uses a LiFePO4 lithium battery, which handles about 4 times the charging cycles than a standard lithium-ion battery that's used in most other hardware wallets. So basically, the battery just lasts a lot longer. But even if the battery does fail, you can continue to use the wallet by plugging in the USB-C cable and you're good to go. It'll basically work like all the old Trezor models that don't have batteries. But its quantum ready design is what really makes the Safe 7 stand out from the rest of the competition. Now, when I first heard this term used in Trezor's marketing, of course, I was a bit hesitant at first because this is one of those buzzwords that we've all been hearing about lately, especially in the crypto space. But once I finally understood what quantum ready actually meant, because it's not the same as quantum proof, it made a lot more sense. First off, quantum ready is not the same thing as quantum resistant. There's no such thing as a quantum resistant wallet. It is up to the blockchain network developers, like Bitcoin developers or Ethereum developers, to make crypto quantum resistant. Then the wallet companies come in and they simply implement that technology into their devices. So what Trezor did with the Safe 7 is they've already implemented post-quantum cryptography into the device. So in theory, if blockchain networks like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, ever come out with a post-quantum update, it should be a lot easier to implement that update in the Safe 7 through a simple firmware update, whereas with other wallets that aren't already using post-quantum cryptography, it could take a bit longer or maybe even be impossible. We don't really know yet. That said, a lot of experts still believe that quantum computing is still pretty far off from being able to compromise crypto networks, so I don't think this feature is necessary or even a must-have right now, but who knows, maybe in the future it will be, and if you want it, the Safe 7 has it. Now, in terms of security, Trezor has always been a leader in the space. All of their wallets have always been 100% open source since the beginning, and the Safe 7 is no exception. In fact, it's the only wallet that's currently using a fully open source and fully auditable secure element chip that they designed in-house called the Tropic Square 1. And all that really means is that anyone with the technical know-how can review the chip and its security and how it works, find vulnerabilities, exploit those vulnerabilities quicker so that Trezor can fix them quicker, and essentially the chip can become more secure over time. But to ensure things remain secure, the Safe 7 actually uses two secure chips. So the second secure chip is another 100% open source chip created by Infineon, and this is the same chip that's used in the Trezor Safe 5 and Safe 3, and this basically just adds an extra layer of protection. So two chips, double the protection. Sounds good to me. Okay, now let's move on to the Trezor Suite app, which is the app that you use to manage your Safe 7. Now, this is technically the oldest hardware wallet app in the entire space, and I was actually really surprised by how good the Trezor Suite mobile app was because they never really had one until they came out with the Safe 7. Again, you can do pretty much everything in this app: buy, sell, swap, and stake your crypto, but that's not all. You can even set up a DCA or dollar cost averaging schedule for automatic buys using the NVIDIA app. And you can do other cool things like route all of your Trezor Suite's traffic through the Tor network to increase your privacy and security, so the app is just awesome. Now, the main downside to the Safe 7 and all Trezor wallets are their coin support. It supports the least amount of blockchains and cryptocurrencies out of all the wallets on this list. That said, Trezor is aware of this and they are actively working to catch up to Ledger and Tangem, but it could take some time, so something to consider. But considering everything the Safe 7 does offer, its price is extremely competitive at $249 because that's really the mid-tier price range, and this is a premium wallet. That said, if you don't want to spend that much but you still like what Trezor has to offer, the old Safe 3 and Safe 5 models are still some of the best wallets, and I still use them myself. Of course, they don't come with the wireless compatibility or the quantum readiness, and you'll have to use your computer to manage them, but they are still some of the best wallets you can get. But if you're still having a hard time deciding which wallet is for you, let me spell out exactly which wallet is for which type of person. Tangem is best for beginners who want maximum convenience, simplicity, and fast setup without dealing with screens, cables, or computers. The Ledger Flex is best for users who want full control on both mobile and desktop with a secure screen, premium feel, and some more advanced features. And the Safe 7 is best for long-term holders who want maximum transparency, future-proof security, and open source trust with wireless convenience. But ultimately, these wallets are the best of the best in my experience, so you can't really go wrong with any of them unless you get one that doesn't support the cryptocurrencies you hold. That said, if you want to see how to set up any of these wallets like Tangem, the Ledger Flex, or the Trezor Safe 7, just click on any of those guides and I'll meet you over there. God bless and peace out.